What is happening, everybody? I didn't think we were going to get live like that. I thought we were going to hit something like this. Hot, cold, live open. Hey, Cannabis Legalization news. Thank you for tuning in. It is another Sunday. We have news out of 21. Almost half of the country's attorney generals have written letters to Congress. It's our lead story. Is that going to be the end of high hemp? Should we start calling it high hemp? I don't know. Miggy's got some hemp stories that he's got. We also have stuff from D.C. We got a lot of state news. Got to name that strain. Kentucky's in the house. Delaware. New York. Canada. It's kind of international.
Hey. What up? Yeah, dude. Lots to talk about. How about that letter, though?
Yeah, this was an interesting letter, and it came out not that long ago, March 20th, so last week. And look at it. It's by how many people? It's a lot. And so it's the signature lines. And so go down to the signature lines, and you can see, they start. And so they all have the attorney generals of whom they are from. I think this one's from the state of Indiana and Arkansas. So quite, maybe it's all the Republican ones, but there's the attorney general of Hawaii. There's the one of Colorado, Connecticut, Georgia, kind of expect Georgia and Iowa, and Kansas. But then you have Maryland, Minnesota, Missouri, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Washington. So a hodgepodge of legal and illegal states have sent this to both houses of Congress. And so that is for the Committee on Agriculture in both sides, the United States Senate, and then, of course, the United States House of Representatives. And they sent it to their chairs saying that the stuff that's getting you high in hemp needs to stop.
Well, when we talked about you just did a video on the THC loopholes, like you made multiple, right? I mean, lack of a better word, loophole, right? Because it's all going to come down to prosecutorial
discretion, right?
Right.
They could prosecute you and try to argue that no, it's still illegal, and then somebody would have to argue the letter of the law, and then we'd have a constitutional argument on our hands. Or a legal argument, and that means that it can get appealed, and it'll be reviewed de novo, whether or not the absurd result principle would just render all these hemps, marijuana. But I don't think the ones that you showed before, show the audience the ones that you were getting into, because once it gets outside of the THCs, especially the ones that are naturally occurring, then I think it's a different story. So what have you been smoking on, Miggy?
Well, just a foreshadow, and just before, talking about this cannabis hemp conversation, this is what you feel like. See, that's what this is about. Because right now in my legal state, I just bought yesterday. I smoked this bubble hash infused 1:1 THC CBD CBG joint, which was really good, and it's really. Living in a legal state, you have more options, especially when it's been.
Did you buy that at a gas station?
No, I bought it at a pot shop, and next to it was some flour for.
And what are pot shots called outside of Washington State?
I would imagine dispensaries or the traditional market.
Provisioning center, Provisioning centers are out of Michigan medical cannabis. They call it a provision centers. I'm on my way to get some provisions.
But on top of that, because I'm smoking the CBG, and the reason why it stood out to me and why I grabbed it was because, a marijuana moment. Put the other side on. Boom. The USDA approved genetically modified hemp that produces no THC or CBD. And again, the hemp marijuana conversation, it's the same freaking plant. It's just an arbitrary number that divides it. What makes it illegal, or Saturday or a t-shirt?
Well, it doesn't get you high or not. And so, is it high hemp or is it not? And so that's one of the things about it. Hemp traditionally before CBD, it was the plant that you would grow for its non-cannabinoid properties. So you would grow it for fiber, for clothing, for food, for building materials, but not to use its cannabinoids.
But isn't it silly that right now this just USDA approved special hemp, but here I am in a legal state and I bought CBG flower You know, it wasn't pre-approved by the USDA. This is something that's part of the general market
Where
right
did you
now.
get the CBG flower?
What's that?
Where did you find the CBG flower? Was that at a gas station?
No, this was in my 502 recreational legal pot shop. Like,
Right.
and so like it's not when you buy the flower, you know, this is a different experience that everybody should have, right? A choice to like, I want high THC, I want a CBD. You know, it's not gas station weed. At least you know it was locally or within the
But
country
like
grown.
Washington State signed that letter. I mean, like in our lead story, 21 attorney generals all over the United States sent a letter to both houses of Congress for the new farm bill regarding changing the definition of hemp so that it can't get you high anymore. And they were from both Colorado and Washington State, like the oldest markets of legal cannabis. But then Oregon joined. So did North Carolina, interestingly enough, which is where all the THCA flower comes from.
But I think that's why. Like I think the thing that you've been talking about for years, and we've been talking about as far as the 0.3% dividing this legality, you know, they want clarification. You know, you have people in recreational states who are hurting because people who grow hemp don't have to abide by the same rules. They can grow the gas station weed.
They can sell it to the gas station without anybody getting carded.
Yeah,
it's one of those.
100%.
And then how do I hit mute on the screen?
It's on the tab. Let me see if I can do it for you.
See if you can, because it says edit and stop screen.
Go to your little. Oh, you know what? Because you didn't share audio, so it might be already just muted for you. So,
well, that's cool. Let's get a quote from the letter. And so this is, again, it's signed by 21 attorney generals, both sides. Like everybody, you have the conservative people of Indiana and Arkansas, but Arkansas has got a licensed program for medicinal. But then you have California, full adult use, and Connecticut, full adult use. Colorado, District of Columbia, weird adult use. Like medical sales, okay. Adult use sales, no. But then you get Georgia and Iowa. So like you get some very conservative ones too. But here's how they end their little letter. We share your commitment to farmers and to support an orderly market for industrial hemp and non-intoxicating hemp-derived products. Promise of the 2018 Farm Bill to create this agricultural commodity market, however, has failed. Instead, hemp-derived intoxicants have proliferated against our states, posing a significant threat to public health and safety and benefiting unregulated, untaxed, and unaccountable market actors. It's our duty to protect our states and our committees. Yet the federal law lacks clarity needed to act vigorously on their behalf. We urge Congress in the strongest possible terms to address this reckless policy. But they don't give them any language.
I wish there was a better word than intoxicant.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why I kind of like the if you call it high hemp, because like CBG doesn't get you high, CBN, CBD, there are non-intoxicating cannabinoids. They may make you calm, you know, but like Xanax really doesn't get you high.
But what is high though? Like even if I had the highest THC and the highest dabs,
what's drunk? Like, you know, you get fucked up. Like you get a hyphy if you're in the Bay. And so like there's a reason why people smoke weed, and it's to get them high, you know. And so, but then the reason that you might be using your CBD joint might be because you got a backache.
Well, that's what happened yesterday because everything in me hurts, man. I've used my body as the machine that it shouldn't be. And, I smoked that CBD, THC joint yesterday. I felt wonderful. I felt relaxed, and even when your body becomes relaxed and less painful, that there is a high with that, right? Like I'm not feeling bad. Let's go with this.
I don't know. I have not done it near enough as much Xanax as our audience. They keep reminding me it can get you high. I'm like, I need to do more Xanax. I don't want to do any Xanax. I don't. But it's like a Schedule 4. It's a lower schedule than 3, I thought. And people are giving it to it like it's Tic Tacs. It's like, oh, I don't feel good. Yeah. Like some Xanax.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, the whole psychiatry stuff. But, just, again, what is high, right? Like when I've had dabs, even at my worst, when I've had too much edible and smoking at the same time, and you get that hyperventilating panic, like that's definitely not high. But like,
don't want to be there. But then that's it's one of the things that it allows you to do that I don't think your CBG or your CBD or even your CBN is going to be doing for you. I just think that it's a different thing. So if you wanted to use it to have it be like marijuana where it gets you high, just like, if you wanted to use it to have it be like alcohol, imagine if there was oat soda. And this oat soda was like 5% alcohol. But because you called it oat soda, it was not regulated how beer was regulated. Right? That's basically the high hemp market. And you're just saying like, it's legal. You're like, who told you that?
Yeah. It's the same formula, the same plant matter. And then we do have FDA news along with the rounds of the hemp in the conversation we're having now. The FDA says marijuana has a legitimate medicinal purpose.
This was the nothing burger of the week, in my opinion. And so like, it's not to say that it's a nothing burger, but it kind of is in the sense that I saw this article going around. You can see it's out of Tampa, Florida, from their is that ABC? Their ABC affiliate out of Tampa, Florida. Yeah. Was running with this story, and so it is a video that I don't want to show because then we don't have the copyright for that. But I believe it was a story about what happened on August 29th. And so like this was a story about that letter from the FDA and the HHS to the DEA saying reschedule it. So it was like a non-real story as I dug into it. And that kind of pissed me off because I'm like, Tampa, what the fuck? Are you just catching up to like September 1st now? And so remember, nobody gives a shit about this industry except for you tuning in, and you're fucking awesome, by the way, especially work at a dispensary. Or
No, we are venturing. I mean, you've been in the cannabis industry for many moons already. I've just been smoking a lot of weed and helping.
You have been a dispensary owner, technically, for over 8 months. 8 months, license holder. Have you gotten the license? No, I have not.
And that's the troubling thing about this whole process. As someone who's been observing since they were 17, trying to figure out like how to get this thing legal, and you realize it's convoluted and painful. Hey, Chad. By the way, my baby sprouted, and I'm now germinating a second set. So fingers crossed.
Nice.
Yeah. We got some congressional leaders seek again to block DC marijuana sales while funding psychedelic studies and new spending bill. That already went through, though. Didn't the spending bill already go through?
What's the date?
March 21st.
March 21st. No, this is new news.
Is it? So congressional leaders have unveiled a second package of spending legislation to keep the government funded, with provisions included that would continue to block Washington, D.C. from legalizing marijuana sales, fund psychedelics-related clinical trials, and more. Of course, every freaking year.
Every year. It's but it's so funny that they haven't. And so like when it goes to Schedule 3, will they move to block it and be like, hey, everybody buy medical? Maybe. Or like, will all the dispensaries become hybrid dispensaries? That's what I'm kind of wondering. Like, I want every dispensary to be a hybrid dispensary so that then, for all intents and purposes, it's like, okay, so you're not really blocking the adult use because all the stuff is being sold through a medical dispensary.
What up, Carlo? Thank you. So he's asking, when are they going to amend the farm bill and change it? Is there a schedule? And that's what we talked about, the recommendation in the beginning.
It should be this year. It actually should have been last year, and it hasn't been. And so the next farm bill will be when they have hearings, just like they had them last year. So it's been almost 6 years since Ron Wyden told the Senate, like, this won't get you high. You'll just be wasting your time. I don't know if Ron Wyden's still in the Senate. He might be. And so they'll have hearings, and then they'll have a new farm bill that'll say this means hemp. And then they can have new rules for how you would harvest it, for example. Maybe the harvest should be after harvest. You test it for total THC.
We should tell them that the actual documents are in Hunter Biden's laptop. And then we'll get our congressional hearing.
Or they are in a bathtub at Mar-a-Lago. Or they are wherever the president hangs out.
There you go.
The president he's in Delaware. Look. We're in Delaware.
I just, as I watch the parliamentary procedure, it's just so painful just watching this. Like it's gonna be nice with real change were to happen one day eventually. Like, we're making moves. What we have, the Safe Banking Act that's only one up, and what is our other option right now besides descheduling it?
Oh, they really none of them are really doing the legalization bills. The only thing you're really seeing is Schedule 3, when's that coming, DEA, and then also you're seeing the safe banking. And so like the Fed. So what is her name that's in charge of the Fed? The lady.
Oh, that was a good one. The one that hit that lady.
Yeah, right.
Janet
right
Yellen.
now it's Jerome Powell. And then who was the lady? Janet Yellen. Now she's the Secretary of the Treasury, I believe. Secretary of Treasury. And so Janet Yellen moved from being the Fed chair to the Secretary of Treasury. She said that would really help if you just let them use banks.
Seriously, though.
So Schedule 3, then hey, it's not the same types of crimes, especially if you give all those license holders a pathway to be registered with the DEA. So then it would still be illegal prescriptions, but at least they would be legal illegal prescriptions. And that little inconsistency and absurdity of the law is way less absurd than the current ones.
Well, it'd be progress. I mean, any progress I think is, people want to bitch and moan. Personally, it'd be great if we could just deschedule it and everybody have a chance to order seeds.
You can. Congress can go deschedule it. Go for it, Congress. Make our day.
But they aren't. I mean, you've seen it. Huh?
I said, why don't they?
Because the clown show is getting worse.
Oh, that's right. And you know why the clown show is getting worse? Because of gerrymandering. So now you just have to win your primary, and then you win the general election because they aren't even really. So the voters don't get to pick their electors. They had the electors picking their voters, which leads to this result. And so now what you have is these crazies in Congress because after they've won their primary, they win. Or they win 75% of the time.
Well, and then they spend the rest of their time getting reelected, right? Not even doing real change.
But then it doesn't matter. Yeah, right. So then they go straight to fundraising, just so they don't get primaried. I might get primaried. I wasn't crazy enough. I didn't go far enough for our fervent because so now we have the toenails and the fingernails, and the one's one party and the other one's the other party, leading the whole body corpus that is America, because you just have the furthest extremities of either region's parties pushing the agenda, and then everybody in the middle gets fucked. Even though 98% of the people in the middle are like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do the primaries this way. Maybe we shouldn't district how we're districting, so that it is a more of a we choose who's representing us, not they chose us, and then drew maps around. Hey, that is a fucked up enough situation. So you should all take a little smoke break because it is 4:20 on the East Coast.
So weird.
Oh yeah, got out of trim jail, and I got a little smell jar now. Willie Nelson, nice. Lovely, love me some Willie Nelson nose. Oh yeah, it's good, good stuff.
Looking forward to that.
It doesn't have gas in it at all, really, and so it's a terpenoline punch, really. It's nice. I enjoy it. Willie Nelson. Speaking of Willie Nelson, Janet Yellen, and it sounds like Willie Nelson. And so she's the Secretary of Treasury now, but we got an offer for disabled veterans. And so right now, if you are a disabled veteran, we'd like to talk with you about what's going on in Missouri. You are eligible to apply for a license in Missouri. And if you fill out this form, if that's something that you'd like. And so Miggy and I one day will get to this point and we will find out that the most the license is ever worth is the day that the state gives it to you.
That's it.
And so Missouri is similar to all the other states. The interesting thing is, for social equity in Missouri, you are like an easement. You run with the license. So we figure that disabled veterans would make the best partners because you have to have eligibility in that ownership of that particular microbusiness license forever, right? And so one disabled veteran could sell it to another disabled veteran, or you'd be able to sell it to Miggy even though he's not a disabled veteran because he has a cannabis arrest. So it always has to be more than 50% owned by a social equity applicant. And so we just figure that if we're trying to capitalize the business and figure out what the license is worth and get operational, the best partner to kind of like promote might be a disabled veteran. So fill out that type form if that's you, and check out our video on it.
Did you put that link in the chat?
I already did. Put the link in the chat. Put the link in the video description below after we're done with this feed, and I'll tag it.
I mean, really, there's no better partner, Tom. If you're going to be trying to get in this game, it's a roller coaster, you know. And you witnessed our adventure where we're partners, and we're just waiting. Fingers crossed. Eventually, one day, Illinois.
But, it's one of those things where we could just try to take the money and run. Just be like, hey, take it. But I want to use it for educational purposes and for marketing.
Well, and education will be huge as far as like transparency in the actual market. Shout out to Robin Alford. Thanks for the gift. Appreciate you, buddy.
Gifted one Cannabis Legalization News membership. Shout outs to all of our members. So the videos, they come out first for members. We got 2 more in the works. One for about how if you've been arrested for cannabis anywhere in the United States. Like, for example, Miggy was arrested, I believe, was it Wyoming?
Several places. Wyoming, California. 2 places.
Well, we use Wyoming to qualify you for social equity in Illinois.
Yeah,
and I believe also in Missouri. And so that's great because, it's always illegal. Of course, then you have to make sure that it is back in the past enough, because some states, they say that once they legalize it, then your arrest doesn't count anymore. So like you could get arrested in Wyoming tomorrow. And unfortunately, it's not 5 years ago when they legalized it. And so then that arrest no longer counts. That's just how like the weird kind of Kafka-esque situations that you have in a state-by-state basis on like the cannabis laws. But from reviewing Missouri's, so far, I kind of really dig them. And so I'm really looking forward to becoming a lawyer down there.
Robin, it looks like they messed up when they're trying to give the gift. They're trying to gift it for somebody. But John, Robin, help us out. And we'll
try to gift you the membership and gift it to someone else. Tom, help. I am not the administrator of the channel.
Well, we'll try.
I am the owner of the channel, and therefore also the administrator. We will try to help.
Here he goes. He gifted it to the wrong person. Listen, who can try and...
It sounds like it's a refund. I have no idea how to do this.
I think he was trying to add John Maddox, so we'll try and add John if we can. We are YouTube and deficient.
We are the person that I'm interviewing to produce the podcast. It's like, they have like, I wish that our podcast numbers were as large as they are, or larger. But then, like, the smoothness and the sophistication of like the emails and all the other crap. I don't know how to do it. I did this so that our business would do okay, and the business is doing okay. Now we have to actually, and so we're gonna try to get a budget for promoting this. One day we will.
We also didn't intend this to be the hustle, right? I mean, shout out to Luke. Did you see Luke's already passed 120K? Like good on him for making all those little mini docs and getting that little fan base.
Yeah. He's doing well. What's our next story?
John Maddox, yeah. We got Congress tears into Biden official over political damage, lack of marijuana reform progress, urging White House to follow through. So you were talking about this is Blumenauer.
Blumenauer retiring.
With his bicycle button. I love that button, dude.
Yeah.
Bicycle day. You know bicycle day, right?
No, I'm not from the West Coast. I know corn. Would you like to talk about corn?
No, bicycle day is the day that LSD was invented. It's the day Albert Hoffman, went on a bicycle ride and realized things weren't normal.
Accidentally touching a chemical in the lab, and it got into
an accident.
Or like actually say, I want to see how this stuff tastes. It has to be better than last night's chili. And then is that how it worked? Or I thought the old rumor was he got it on his skin and it absorbed and he hallucinated.
Well, I think that was the first time, and then he did the second time on purpose. So
that's when he took the heroic dose and then rode a bicycle home.
And realized that everything's bending. You're like, I had a little too many mushrooms and back when I was younger and stupider, and I used to be a part of the traditional market, and I had a whole bunch of hash and mushrooms that we just got in from Oregon when I lived on the East Coast, and I shouldn't have gotten in my car, but I got in my car, and literally I felt the steering wheel move, but I think it was more like my elbows probably going like this, But I was like, oh, whoa, everything's fucking wobbly. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
best choice. But yeah,
No, and that's why LSD has actually been discovered 4 times. It was only was it Dr. Hoffman? Was that the last one? Yeah, the first 3 guys died after
I
they
didn't know
found out, and then they were just cleaning up the lab. Like, oh, I guess Professor Carruthers is dead. What happened? Jumped off the bridge. I don't know why either. Said he could fly. If it was just one of those stories where somebody hallucinates, loses track of reality, and gets killed because it was the 30s and shit, and things were dangerous back then.
Sure. Well, there's also MK Ultra, which is an actual experiment, but we're digressing.
Earl Blumenauer, where's bicycles? Chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus.
Yes. Twice this weekend, they had the Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra. One was for they were talking about the Department of Health and Services as far as like just different things that they were under them, and one of them was a cannabis question when it came to rescheduling it, and he actually blanked out when he was trying to remember the schedule of cannabis, right? Like how do you fucking not know marijuana's Schedule 1? Like,
oh, I thought it was funny. It was like it was either 1 or 5. I think he had just
yes.
I don't think he understands how it's regulated. So, like, is 5 bad or is 1 bad? I think that's how he was approaching it.
Which is unfortunate when you're in charge of a goddamn whole program.
Tiny aspect of all the federal laws, and so those administrators at that level probably aren't given 2 shits in their day about the Controlled Substances Act. That's why they have the DEA.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I get it. I just, as somebody who's been a single issue voter for most of my life, and people gawk at it, right? Like the other side, or rather, because I'm an independent, so there is no real other side. But what I see as far as the conservative side we have in America, it's all just religious stuff. It's the religious reasons. There's no real reason to believe what you want, or so like that's why they all vote one way, because they want save the babies. Whereas as a cannabis, like being my number one issue, it's a multifaceted, right? Like it could be t-shirts, it's judicial, it's law enforcement, it's it's the like Jack Harris said, with the the emperor wears no clothes. It's like it's just this multi. What up, Aaron?
Yeah,
Aaron has been.
The cash flows weren't where we wanted them to be, and so I did not go to Hawaii. And so the firm didn't go to Hawaii for their event that they had, but Zeman was actually a presenter at it, and so hopefully we'll be able to make it out to the island here soon. I don't know if we have any island news. We have Washington. I think we covered the secretary yelling, and so also Mr. Wright's telling people to preach, Maggie. I think that's an autocorrect of Miggy, because I've tried that before, and autocorrect Miggy often autocorrects to Maggie, unfortunately.
Maggie's Farm, baby.
Maggie's Farm.
And also
Treasury Secretary Yellen news. I think we can skip that story because we covered it. But the Governor Jay's Inslee news. Where's the link from Washington State? I just have because I have the headline: Washington's governor signs law exempting medical cannabis patients from paying taxes on specific products. So what happened in Washington State, Mickey?
So Inslee, our governor, who's on the way out, has signed legislation into law to exempt registered medical marijuana patients from the state's 37% excise tax, and that's at the door of
But medical supplies just got quite a bit cheaper in Washington State.
What's frustrating though is like that's the markup. I mean, is that a clear tax-free thing, or is there still some profit being held off the patient? I got a question about that. How is Arkansas looking in the cannabis world? Actually, they not so bad, right?
Not great, not so bad. And so like Arkansas actually has like an Illinois style of medical program. So very limited market, very few amount of players, but you can get a card and you can actually buy weed. Unlike Georgia, where it's even worse, or like Texas, where it's even worse. And so it is a tight, limited medical market in the South, Arkansas. That's how Arkansas's cannabis world is looking. Maybe it'll go legal. I think after Schedule 3 becomes a thing, you're going to see states like Arkansas going legal, and then states behind Arkansas going medical Arkansas style. So I could see an Arkansas style program in Kentucky, in Tennessee, in Indiana, in Iowa, maybe in Wisconsin, but I could see Wisconsin getting to like not maybe Michigan style, but maybe Illinois or Minnesota style legalization faster, just because the political will is there.
Well, and then if you have a chance, do get involved with the medical program in any state that's coming up, because that is where your culture is, for lack of a better. People willing to, like when I put in here in Washington, when I first moved out here 15 years ago or whatever, I knew they had a medical program. So that was the first thing I did, was got my script. And it was like a backstage pass to like all the, weed in the world. And then, which will evolve, because that's where your culture comes from. People who are going to do sesh events, people who are doing giveaways, that's where people making edibles and giving away, that's the world. So, hey, ready to play a little name history?
Yeah, let's look at some weed.
Weed.
That's nice.
It's
known as blank, popular hybrid mix. And of course, like blank means I'm not saying the word, so that you can have a chance to guess it. A popular hybrid strain made by crossing Cinderella 99 with Vortex. Blank.
This is I've had this in Washington State. This is one of my favorite ones back in the medical days.
Chad over there is saying, is this some Oreos? I don't know if that looks as frosty and as purple. Oreos, it just looks darker to me than that. It looks like it's professionally grown, though.
See, the effects are clear-headed and uplifting, perfect for building positive mindset and stimulating creative energy. So being a hybrid, I think this is sativa leaning, I believe.
Sativa leaning hybrid. It's got Cinderella 99 and Vortex are its parents. And if you know its parents, its name comes a little bit easier to understand. I would imagine that this is probably something you can find in California.
Yeah, well, definitely Washington 12 years ago.
You see it out there?
When it was medical out here, it was one of the big ones that was... Ours
is out of stock. They're trying to get me to buy Jack Herer, Tropical Banana, Ghost Train Haze, or Clementine. That's what's in stock over here in Central Illinois. This one, out of stock.
Boo-boo. You guys don't have a good selection, though.
No, we have a limited market. And then I'm still not sure if this
is
out there.
Christopher got it.
That's right. Cinex, known as Cinex, is a popular hybrid strain crossing Cinderella 99 and Vortex. Sweet citrus and earthy skunk.
That was really one of my my favorite go-tos when I had it, and So what are you looking at, like an online menu?
It's Leafly. So like Leafly is, because people pay Leafly money to help, advertise their products online.
Well, when you said it was out locally, I thought maybe like you were looking at like a store or something.
I'm looking at Leafly, and so like here I can show you this, and then you scroll down and it says like buy strains with similar effects to Cinex, and here's the ones around you, and it's like Cinex out of stock, and then like these ones are in stock, you can go buy those. And so like Leafly, it sells weed, or it advertises cannabis.
No, I just I don't think anybody uses them here in Washington State. I mean, most people go to the pot shop's website itself and then use that as their like menu, hope that it's correct when you show up.
So you guys don't use like Dutchie or anything for your okay.
No. Everybody's like a little separate entity. I mean, there might be a couple of people who decide, because it's kind of hard to get your foot into a thing, and then hopefully more than one store picks you up or whatever. So
it's a limited market, and so like when they're really limited, so the growers work with, and then the retail locations work with like a Dutchie or a Leafly, and then they list their menu online, and then it's in those apps that other people are using. They might have their own website that then integrates with the Leafly or the Dutchie site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, interesting. No, we don't. Organ donations for marijuana users.
What?
Yeah, buddy.
Organ donations for marijuana users pose no significant risk of infection, according to a study.
So yeah, a new federally funded study examining the possible risk of organ donation by marijuana users found no indication that recent cannabis use increases the likelihood of significant side effects in the year immediately after transplant. So that's a whole year afterwards. That's great for a study. I
And
know
do you know what
several
April is?
for
420, but it's also Organ Transplant Awareness Month. And so if you're not or Organ Donor Awareness Month, if you're not an organ donor, there's a whole month to raise awareness for you.
Yeah. So I mean, this has been an issue though for years. I know a gentleman in San Diego who got denied transplant for like a liver or something. So
Because he used cannabis.
yeah.
Terrible. But organ donation, you never want to use it. You hope it doesn't come up, but you're grateful if you need it. And I'm glad that the stigma and the prejudice is not going to be visited on somebody. Like if I needed a heart or a liver or a retinas, let's say, what's the donor magnet for retinas? If I needed a new appendix, and I haven't had one for almost 20 years, I've been okay. But if I needed a new appendix, I wouldn't care if the guy who was giving me his appendix smoked weed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, good chance he probably drank.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, good thing that hopefully this will change the rules, right? This will enable, because this is not a solidified. This is how it's going to be now. This is just proof.
Yeah, but we got some of that that stigma news out of Kentucky in our next story, and so you see a story like it's Organ Donor Awareness Month, but then there's no additional risk. So good news story, bad news story time. Kentucky House votes to bar people with some drug convictions from enrolling in the medical marijuana program.
So it's ignorant, mind blowing. It's like just because you're a bad idiot, you're not entitled to health care.
Yeah, the quote is, "This is going to cause a lot of folks to probably avoid the program altogether." Legislation would impose multiple barriers on access to medical cannabis in Kentucky, and it makes people convicted of drug possession ineligible for the medical marijuana program. So you have to have been a marijuana virgin and never caught with it to now be able to access it medically under House Bill 829. So that's 829, requires prospective patients to pass background checks before they can get it. And then if they have to meet with a pharmacist before they can buy marijuana, and would allow K-12 schools to opt out of medical marijuana access policies. So if you're in high school, you cannot get medical cannabis in Kentucky.
Well, House Bill 829 will require prospective patients to pass background checks before they can be issued a medical marijuana card. So
I hope this is vetoed by the governor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, unfortunately, passed the House. I mean, it still has to go through the Senate, though, wouldn't it?
Yes, it will have to go through the Senate, and then it would have to be signed into law. And I could see Governor Andy Beshear, God bless his soul, he's still alive. All right, from allowing this kind of chicanery to go forward in the state.
Yeah, no, he's a good one. Hopefully, it's funny how you have individual senators that are Republican, but then the big boss is Democrat. I don't know how that works. Like, not people are all one ticket, but or is it just like the local high school guy is able to sell himself I'll be your mayor because they've been smoozing people for years.
Hey, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and go to coffee shops and just talk to random folk in my district, and charm them. And I'm going to do that every fucking day for the next 6 months. And that is a politician's mindset.
It's like an influencer. I'm just saying, it's like social media influencer.
Well, I do have a YouTube channel. Not proud of it.
We got Lexington news as well.
Yes, Lexington. They are scrambling to get their zoning regulations in effect before the medical cannabis takes effect in January 1st. The 2023 law gives local governments over a year to get their zoning in order before medical cannabis becomes law in 25. And it limits the local authority so they can prohibit all medical cannabis operations, and they can also have zoning regulations. This might create an issue similar to what we see in New Jersey, where getting zoning almost becomes a game on top of the game of getting a license.
Yeah. But that's every state, though. It's not just New Jersey. It's California.
Not necessarily. Like some states like limit that shit. And so like Missouri does a pretty good job of limiting the shit. Illinois really doesn't. They give the municipalities, they can like opt out. But I thought Missouri, you're not allowed to opt out. And then you can put some reasonable zoning restrictions on it, but they put like a lot of those restrictions in the state statute itself. But then like New Jersey. Maryland actually, I think, had some of those Missouri-esque regulations built into it. So that's just the problem. Go read 5 states' cannabis laws and then try to keep them all straight in your head. Go for it.
Yeah, no, they're all different, right? I mean, just like Missouri being the only one for veterans, disabled veterans. I turned a couple of my friends onto your link, and they're like, well, what's the deal again? You're like, look, this is the only freaking state where your disability is going to get you points in the system. Right. A foot in the door. So everything else is
the license is worth, and then you get your here's what we're gonna get. It's a representation. It's a contingency fee agreement.
Yeah.
And so like we are gonna promote you to get you that license, and that's the other part. You can't leave.
Yeah.
And so like we're gonna try to get you paid fair. And if you do this right, it could turn into a phony baloney job that you can't be fired from.
Right. I mean, it's for lack of a better, free money, but it's also it
is being paid back for what you gave to your country.
That's what I was saying. The sweat equity that you put into it is where you deserve what you got, and good luck, Kentucky. Hopefully, Will's in Tennessee, huh?
No, it's Kentucky, and so we'll see what they do. Minnesota may have a veteran benefit. I know Illinois started with a veteran benefit, and then after all the veterans got all the licenses, they said, okay, we don't need this anymore.
Well, it's all about the odds no matter what, and may they be in your favor.
Yeah. Like you'd have a 1% chance of getting this dispensary, or like a 6% chance of getting the grow, and then yay, you win. Yeah. What's it worth? Well, let's go find out. Let's go see what the license is worth.
Well, that's what we'll find out eventually one day.
Yep, one day.
That's the end of our news, but I got some miscellaneous stuff.
All right, let's do some. Wait, I thought we have a world news out of Canada.
We
got a little.
Oh, yeah, we do. We do.
And then we got some shit I wasn't expecting out of New York.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I was going to talk about.
Stories.
All right.
Well,
so we got. Which one is that one?
Oh, yes. This one is Excelsior. This is out of New York. They thought they were headed for high times. Then New York botched its legal cannabis rollout. I felt so bad about all the clients that wanted to get into New York, and I'd be like, no, just make referrals. And then I'm like, that is a dumpster fire, and you are going to be bleeding. Reporting from the dumpster fire, people are bleeding money. Oh, really? And so then they even like prioritized people that had real estate, and now they're in a line.
Yeah. Well, this title could apply for any state, though, right? Like if Illinois.
And no, Illinois botched it, but like, how much money are we out after 9 months? I'm sorry, 8.5 months of having a license that hasn't been issued? 0.
Right.
And so, like, boom, right there, they did a nice thing for us, where they made it so that that's true. So we're not really bleeding money. We're not like we're in Florida or Texas or New York or even Missouri. In Missouri, you have to go that property right there. And you should have a contingency plan to lock it up. And you should be really quiet about a contingency plan you have to lock it up, because if they find out what it's for, suddenly the price goes up.
That's crazy. Well, yeah. Well, what about even shit? That's my train of thought. Just thinking of the somebody said the S is silent. Well, Texas. What happened? That's what I was trying to go with, because when we were at MJ Biz, we ran into people who already dumped $100K into just the real estate, waiting for that. Is Texas still pending, or did they just flip that already and just say no? No, it's still pending.
No. Texas is in the same boat as Florida. Both of them closed on April 28th. And so everybody has been bleeding tens of thousands of dollars that applied every effing month. And in Florida, if you win, it's $1 million. And in Texas, if you win, can't remember how much it is. It might be 175,000. something like that. And like Texas was like $8,000 to apply, and then you're like got these monthly bleeds. And so
Yeah.
good luck if you're in Texas or Florida. And then that one was like super expensive to do as well. So, and then it was competitive. So it's going to go to a lawsuit if they announce winners at all. Illinois didn't do the worst thing in the world with what they've done for us. And so then there's like, we're not going to be opening in Morton. Sorry, Morton, we can't bring our unique brand of cannabis retail to you. Oh, good. That's those are the show notes. We have one new one, and so like that's the last one that we can end on is the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, I believe. Canada.
So, cannabis industry wants rules loosened on joint in-store promotions. Everybody's. Why is that the number one for any of these legalization states? The advertising is always like limiting. Like we can't let the children see this pot leaf. Like, why? It's not enticing.
Right. I don't know. Nearly all provinces, which are states in Canada, currently prohibit direct financial relationships between licensed cannabis producers and retailers. It's just like Washington State, bro. You can't be on both sides of the streams.
Yeah.
That stops them from running joint promotional events that highlight particular cannabis brands in a retail store. And they want that relaxed. So it kind of makes sense that Canada and Washington State have similar regulations where you can't cross the streams.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other, and if you guys do in the chat, let me know. But what other state besides Washington can you not own both sides? Ooh, dumpster fire, that is New York, I think is actually one of them. I don't think you're allowed to own both sides in New York. So you can't be vertical. Yeah. And I shouldn't call New York a dumpster fire. They just have done like a bad job of rolling out their licenses.
Well, and the people who are invested in it, really, and again, anytime you're milking money out of somebody who can't, have a chance to make money,
right?
They
have to spend it every month, but they aren't allowed to make it.
Where's that? How's that right? So,
and then somebody else gets to skip the line and then be open, and then there's only like 5 people open. So they're like, "Yeah, it sucks, guys. I'm sorry. I had to wait my turn too. I just happened to be the second one that was in line."
Yeah. Between all the lawsuits, and then I heard they are raiding some of these bodegas out there. So, I mean, I don't know. That's good, bad. I don't know. So, way too many reps come through a retail. Yeah.
Oh, guys, don't forget to tune in to Pro Cannabis Media over on YouTube. Jimmy Young is tuning into the program. I was unable to get him something filed today out of Illinois. We're still coordinating with how we can do a little bit on CLN to throw it over to Pro Cannabis Media. And so, like, have a little sliver in there.
Yeah, no, I wanted to do something again. Everything's about time because I have a little bumper you saw we made, and I want to do like the tidbits of stuff. But it's fucking time. When I get home from work, I'd rather have a beer and play Call of Duty. And
and then when I get back from like kicking people's ass all day, or like getting my ass kicked, or like telling people what to do, I'm like, okay. And then my 3-year-old tells me what character I am from Scooby-Doo, and I am expected to play with her for at least a half hour when I get home. And it's great. And she's only going to be 3.5 for a little bit, but
Shaggy, right?
Very important work. Otherwise I get more done.
Yeah. You're Shaggy, right?
No. Now I'm Fred sometimes, and sometimes I'm Shaggy, and then sometimes I am Gecko from the PJ Masks.
That's awesome. That's hysterical.
It is. And hey, don't forget to see us on the road. Miggy, do you want to go to Minneapolis in about a month?
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm flying.
Okay. And I would recommend flying from Washington into Minneapolis, because that drive would, first off, Wyoming. Fuck that noise. Second, Idaho. Bananas. Fuck that noise. And then third, anything between Washington State and Minnesota, I believe, is an illegal state.
Oh, I've done it twice. And
you've done due west. I'm sorry, due west east.
Yeah. No, I've done it twice. Remember when my kid during the pandemic was going to college in Minnesota, and I did the hero's journey back and forth real quick. Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely a butt puckering drive. So, no flying.
Don't do it. I don't care if you have to fly Boeing. They make them over where you guys live. Fuck.
I drive past that plant every day, and you know it's funny too because I work in quality. A lot of this could have been avoided because corporate
And
people
it was a
break shit up.
cultural problem. And so John
Yeah.
Oliver did a great takedown on that. And so when they had that
Mm.
merger, the wrong board took over. That was the
Yes.
problem. The wrong board, the wrong culture took over. And they, you know, it may seem like you're going to make a little bit more money for the shareholders in the short term if you cut corners and sacrifice quality and costs. But in the
No.
long term, you're going to lose money. And so
Well,
they would have had a much better brand, a much better, they would have a higher prestige in people's mind, and they could charge a premium for it.
well, they had that prestige, but then they fucking shot themselves in the foot. So,
Hey, you guys have reached the part of the show where Miggy and I talk about Boeing. If you've made it this far, consider yourselves a fan and maybe join the channel. And so subscribe, like these things. I got a couple in the can. One's going to come out about how if you've been arrested for weed, that might be your secret to getting into the cannabis industry. It requires winning a lottery, but you know, what doesn't in life? And then another one about how you can know more than 99% of people about cannabis legalization. And that will help us legalize it faster because you'll become insufferable at parties and remind people of these things. And then eventually it'll get its way to Congress and then they'll fix it.
I mean, we're a lot closer than we were. But you know who's way closer than we are?
No way. Who?
Germany.
Germany. Yes. Guess who's legalizing it for April? No fools.
Yes.
Germany.
So they legalized home grow, and I believe the market is to be created. But here's a little note. So I get a little alerts when words like cannabis, marijuana peak. And so like this had increased traffic like 75%. But look at the number one place where the search was coming from. Germany.
Where? Germany.
Yeah. So whenever there's a legislation process or a thing, you know, it's whether it be the market or you know, there's indicators to show people are interested, right? And perhaps like we're invest in, or I was actually looking at the Tilray stock because I'm starting to play with that now, and that's $2, so I can afford that. But
that's right. And maybe after NVIDIA splits, you can afford that too. But the cannabis stocks are hard to, I mean, they are volatile. And I just have not been able to get back into them. I mean, like if I'm going to get cannabis, I'll have them as clients or equity positions for closely held things and try to get cash flows from that. I'm not going to trade the stocks.
Oh, I know. I got some of that Reddit IPO, and it made me thirsty for more. So now I'm like, how can I?
NVIDIA, you know, the QQQs are good. They just go up so far. I mean, and it's like buying all the tech stocks.
Well, I was watching the for like the cannabis stocks available when Germany legalized it, Tilray doubled. Like if I was smart enough to buy when it was lower, every time there's something that comes out, there's always that little bump and then it goes back down. You know, you just got to know when to get rid of it at the same time if you can, timing. But yeah, Germany legalized it, so no, I got nothing. I don't know how to speak German.
Prost. Of course, do they do that with joints in Germany? Do they have like little steins for their joints so they can like cheers one another and then take a rip? You know, I don't know. That's
it's in a song I listened to by J.I. Did. It talks about people saying cheers like the white folks when they clink champagne glasses,
right?
But with their joints.
That's right. Hey, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Cannabis Legalization News, the #1 source of cannabis news on YouTube.